That's about the Texas Chain Saw Massacre. I got the opportunity to watch this on the big screen yesterday for the very first time. I've watched this movie so many times, but this was the first time I got to watch it on the big screen. And nonetheless, it was special because it was August 18th, which is the day when the movie takes place. Now, I will tell you, there were some mishaps here and there with my screening. There was like a huge storm. The lights went out. That's a whole other story. I think I got some clips. You'll be able to check that out later. But I really was so excited watching this movie because I had never watched it on the big screen, and it is debatable. This movie could be the greatest horror film of all time. I definitely have it in the top 3. I would definitely put The Exorcist first, and then I don't know, it could dabble between the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, and Alien for that second or third spot, but that's a whole other conversation we can have. But I really do love what Tobe Hooper did here with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So it's a very simple plot. A group of young people wind up in the wrong side of the tracks and end up being chased by a cannibalistic family here, and it just gets all sorts of deranged. Now, I'm not here to tell you the story or anything like that. You probably already know it. Marilyn Burns here plays the quintessential final girl, in my opinion, as Sally. And I will tell you, a movie like this is not done anymore. I feel like there's so much in this movie that feels so raw, unfiltered, and plain out evil that you don't see it. Like the sadism that is displayed here in those final 20 minutes is just something that I don't think a lot of horror movies today are able to capture in the way that this movie does. I really do believe that this is a perfect film. I think they're able to showcase the relationships everybody has with one another without having too much exposition throughout, like we see a lot today. And it really showcases here that you can have a great film that cooks up to that final moment and really delivers, because the movie is indeed a bit more slower paced. It does take its time. It showcases a lot of these characters and really gives it a lot of time to flesh out. And then when you're about to get into what really makes a lot of these moments that are so iconic, it's because of that buildup that we had up until that certain point. So I really do think that this movie does have some of the best pacing in a horror film, because by the time that we first encounter Leatherface, we've already established just how unpredictable this movie is going to get. And a lot of these iconic scenes, seeing them on the big screen for the first time, it just felt insane, honestly. Like the very first time we see Leatherface come out of the basement, the flashlight scene outside, the whole dinner scene was just insane, especially with the speakers blaring. Watch this with a pretty full crowd for the most part until the lights went out. Some people decided to just get out, but the ending was just great to see, with so many people, just everybody just there to appreciate this work that's over 50 years. I was about to say 100 years, but honestly, it just feels so timeless. I think in 100 years, people will look at it and be like, yeah, that still holds up so well. And I think it just goes along with everybody involved here. Now, of course, we've heard the stories and everything about the film and getting it done and all of that. Not so many kind words for Tobe Hooper or a lot of the people involved here because of the situation in which where they were put in, the conditions of filming and things like that probably wouldn't fly today. And that's something we always had to discuss with this movie for sure. It continues to be that movie that I think a lot of horror directors nowadays see as the archetype, right? And it is in the Library of Congress for being culturally, historically, aesthetically significant. And I see it. You see so many of these games, films, TV shows, what have you, that have taken direct inspiration from this movie and continue to do so. And we will continue to see them back and back again because there's so many great things here. Now, of course, the whole franchise is now in a state of limbo of sorts. We did just have the game a couple of years ago, but a film came out 3 years ago, I believe, from Netflix, and now there's a whole talking back and forth about where exactly does the franchise go from here. And I just don't see where it goes. I mean, we've had them do everything, right? They've done the parody, they've done the direct sequel, they've done the legacy sequel, and it just never really has gone as this film did. I think what Michael Bay did in the early 2000s was interesting as well and gave us a much more grittier film, but at the same time, it still didn't feel as horrific as the 70s one. And it's just something in that formula that was there that day. So get to see a little bit of the chainsaw reaction about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They showed a bit of Patton Oswalt part in that movie, and you just get to hear how passionate and how much of this film inspired Patton Oswalt. And I'm excited to see more of that documentary once it comes out, so stay tuned for that. But nonetheless, I still think it's great. I think Marilyn Burns here is incredible. Those final 20 minutes, like, those are really what this movie cooks up to, and they just land so hard. And all of that goes with her incredible work here as Sally. The wide shots, the close-up shots, the extreme close-up shots, which are so iconic, these screams, everything. Those final moments with Sally and Leatherface on that desolate road with the sun just blaring, it is just some of the most iconic moments you can see in all of film, not just horror. They're pretty much ingrained in your brain, because I'll never forget the chainsaw dance. And I'll never forget the Texas Chain Saw Massacre. Truly a perfect film. If you get the chance to see this on the big screen, I know sometimes they do big screen showcasings for these old school horror movies, like during Halloween and all of that, which is coming up. Definitely implore you to do so. This was my first time catching it on the big screen, and truly just felt like a whole different movie being able to watch it in that format. Really, really great stuff from everybody here involved. I wish there was more of a great story behind the production and everything about it, but from everything we've heard, it sounds like they were pissed at each other for the most part during this, but they made a culturally significant film that has gone to inspire so many. So I don't know if it was worth it in the end or not for them. We'll never know. But to me, this is definitely one of those movies that inspires me so much and continues to showcase to me just how much you can do through the power of film. So very excited to talk more horror movies with y'all. Let me know what y'all think about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This was like a retro review of sorts. Maybe I'll do more of these if y'all want, but I watched it last night, so I was like, might as well talk about it, right? We do have some other movies coming out this weekend. I'm going to make a review for Lurker as well as for Nausea 2, so stay tuned for those. And also, we got a 28 years later, the Bone Temple update, which I'm going to make a video for today, so stay tuned. But let me know what you think about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Is this one of your favorite horror movies, or do you think it's overhyped? Let me know in the comments below. But as always, that's going to do it for me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. 50,000 subscribers is our goal. I'll see all of you next time. Stay safe, stay positive.